from the cloud. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. This is the restart of the marketing clinics. We had a bit of a quite a big gap between them because we were focused on the business finance learning in November and December, and then in October we did the marketing specific learning. So we paused the clinics, but now that there's no big bolts of learning coming up, we're restarting these clinics until the end of this program, which is in May. So every 2 weeks, unless otherwise stated, there's going to be this clinic from 1 to 2 p.m. I'm going to record it. I'm going to send a summary, but please do try and attend in person because yeah, you get the most out of it by far if you attend. Orhan's going to share a full list of the topics covered. I think you've already got that, but we've kind of had to juggle around the schedule a bit. So now that we have a clearer picture of how many more sessions we have, Orhan's going to send me an updated schedule. We do still have stuff, coming up in this program. It's not just marketing clinics. I'm going to send an email out about this tomorrow, but on the 14th this month, we are running a libraries informational clinic. It's actually being run by one of our cohort members, Emily. She works at the libraries and has business on this program. She is going to be talking with one of her colleagues about all of the fantastic resources available through the libraries network. So please join that if you're available. Oh, Bree, you met him yesterday. Cool. Where did you meet? Just out of interest, you could put it in the chat box. The library. Oh, but you'll have seen each other on the virtual calls, and that's how you knew each other? Well, the virtual workshops, not calls. Anyway, well, I'm very glad you got a chance to meet. So that's going to be from 10 to 11 a.m. on the 14th. I'm going to email tomorrow. I'm going to put it all in your calendars tomorrow. Please join if you can. That will also be recorded. So that's another session we got. Orhan, remind me what the next topic will be in 2 weeks' time for marketing.
It will be understanding target audience. And actually, if you want, I'll run through the schedule just to kind of give everybody an
Yeah,
outline of kind of what we're going to do. But the next one will be target audience, specifically customer personas.
okay, wonderful. All right, and then finally, last thing for me before I hand things back over to Orhan. Applications. You've seen my emails. They're open until the 17th. Although they're open actually until like May, but it's specifically for people on the program, alumni, and anyone that you guys refer. If you're an alumni or a cohort member, you can refer as many people as you want to us. We prioritize those applications before the 17th. On the 17th, I send out the email to our entire mailing list. I put stuff on our social media. It's no longer a closed application process, and so we will get flooded with applications at that point. I'll tell you now, we already have 50 applications in, so the program may run out of space before the end of February, depending on. I'll probably not have time to review all of the new ones. So more realistically, March is going to, by the end of March, I'll probably feel, because we do it on a rolling basis. There's 120 businesses on the next program, so we do have a lot of space. But from previous experience, once it's open to the public, we have about 5,000 people on our mailing list. We have about 4,000 something followers on Instagram. A lot of people apply to this program, and I review every application. And obviously, I prefer to work with people we already work with or who are referred to us because they're most likely to engage with the program and they're a little bit more accountable. So just hammering that home, 17th. I really want to work with more of you. I'm sure your mentors want to keep working with you. So in order to do that, the earlier you apply, the better. You can still apply after the 17th, but we do them in order. So as soon as we hit that 120, that's it. That's the cutoff. And then there's a reserve list. So that's everything from me. I'm going to hand things over to you, Orhan. Looking forward to learning more about marketing strategies.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here with you today. And before we jump into the marketing strategy part, I'm actually going to kind of give you an idea of the timeline that we've created. And really, all of this kind of came out of the marketing workshops that we did a few months back. And basically, I'm taking pieces of each one of those, and we're going to spend a little bit more time with them because it's a lot of information, and it was a lot. So this will give us a chance to kind of spread that out over time. So the kind of the timeline the timeline on it. So first of all, we're going to start today with marketing strategy. We'll get into that, and then the next session we're going to move into target audience, which is a part of a strategy. And so we're going to go into talking about creating customer personas, researching customer needs and preferences. The following session is going to be setting goals, setting smart marketing goals so that they're specific, measurable, achievable, relative, and time bound. And we're going to give examples of those, what individual different type of marketing objectives can be for your small business. And then the next two sessions are going to be part ones and part two of digital marketing because digital marketing is such an important part of what we do. So I've broken it into two separate sections or two separate sessions. Obviously, it's going to be social media involved with that, website optimization, email marketing, search engine optimization, those type of things. And then after that, we've got two more partnered sessions for back to back, and that's content marketing because there's the digital marketing applications, but then there's also the content marketing. And so that's going to be the following two sections, looking at the important ways to content to prioritize that, videos, blogs, infographics, all of those things. Coming up on the tail end of it is going to be, oh, also, there's going to be AI components involved in both the digital marketing essentials and content marketing because it is 2025 and there's nothing we can do without AI. So we're going to talk about how to build that into our work that we do. Um, Next is going to be leveraging paid ads on a budget and look at analyzing performance and adapting with analytics is going to be the third to last session. Second to last session is going to really focus on customer relationships and customer service because all of the things that we're talking about is built around customers. So I really want to tie all that in together and talk about how, hopefully we can be giving the best customer experience possible. And then finally, the last session is going to be creating the action plan. So making the calendars, making the schedules, things of that nature that then you can take and you'll be able to use going forward. And that coincides about the end of this flight season. And so, that'll be a little takeaway for you from that. So that's kind of the time stages and the intentionality behind those. And then now I'll just kind of get into a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So again, the way I kind of look at it is that, if we don't know where we're going, if we don't have a plan to try to get us to where we're going, we just spin our wheels. I'm as guilty about it as anybody else. I think I've shared a couple times that I kind of realized that I had lost track of my strategy, and then I realized I wasn't doing things, and it all just happens. And so, we're all guilty of it. It's life happens. And so, again, I always, before we do anything, I like to say, okay, what are we trying to achieve? So, by spending some time looking at what we're trying to achieve with our marketing, then we can build the steps and the goals and the processes to do all that stuff. Now, all of those individual sessions that are coming up, those are incorporated into the overall strategy itself. So that's what we're going to do. So, real quick, I would like to hear from you what is one of your biggest marketing challenges that you're facing right now? I don't want to hear from y'all, whether you put it in chat or vocal or video. What is something that you're challenged with your marketing today? Lack of
Create enough content.
creating what's that?
Enough content.
Yes, yes. And the word in that is enough.
Correct.
Consistency,
Enough. Yes.
enough. And what is enough? What is enough? Is there enough? I don't know. Enough dependent on my time and my availability. I know that. Consistency, yeah, Big B, you're right. Consistency, my gosh. Posting the content consistently. Implementation for me. I mean, this is what I do for a living, and I just have so much trouble getting my stuff done. Um, Okay, so Latwanya, you have a specific challenge. So you're obviously one of your targets is reaching a younger audience of school-aged athletes. So that's even more specific, more targeted. Where are they? In recent conversations that I've had with some of my mentees, um, there's some issues going on with social media, Facebook and Instagram, and the changes that Zuckerberg and them have done as far as algorithm blocking and what they're allowing and not allowing. That there's a younger audience who point blankly says we're leaving. I'm not getting rid of it, but I'm not using it because we don't agree with the fact that we're being censored of what we say and we're being controlled with what we say on these platforms. So it's very interesting. I've had several of those conversations about what does that mean because something's on the other end of this. Is there no other platforms coming up? Are there other places we're going to do? Because we're gonna have social media. It doesn't mean it has to be Facebook. It doesn't mean it has to be Instagram. We've seen what happens with TikTok. My phone had to be reset. Software app got removed. Can't download it again. TikTok was kind of my happy place, but that's okay. I'll find other happy places. But again, it's an interesting time on multiple levels of where we are in this country. But specifically, even as narrow as this with social media and digital advertising and what we can and can't see and be seen. So we're going to see a lot coming up. But specifically outside of that, it's always consistency, getting it out there, creating the content, having the time. What is the amount of content I need? What is it I need to say? Those type of things. So, you're spot on with the same challenges that we all have and that I have and that you have. Um, I do know one thing that at least to some degree, having some type of strategic plan helps us at least stay on track when we can. It lets me know when I'm off track because I know I haven't done it. The other part is a marketing strategy is just a smaller part of overall business goals. I've got a little short, little 4-minute video that I found that I thought was a nice overall explanation of things. We're going to watch that in a second. But again, so there's my business goals overview, like the higher end stuff, the things I want to happen with my business. And then marketing is a component of that that helps me achieve those goals. So let me get my little video, not my video, I did not make this video. 1 second here.
What is a marketing
Stop.
strategy
There
and
we go.
why do I need one?
Don't need one. Hold on. Let me share my screen. And then I'm gonna get y'all to confirm that you can hear. Okay. All right, I'm gonna play it real quick, then I'm gonna start it over. Just let me know if y'all can hear this. I know you can see
Hey
it.
there. You're here because you know how essential in
Can y'all hear that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me just get it over full screen. And then also, as you're watching this, kind of think about points that stand out to you because we're going to cover some of this. But if there's any parts in this little short video, this little 5-minute video that stand out to you, or you're like, hey, bring that up too, because that help guide me in the direction of what we talk
marketing
about.
strategy and why do I need one? Hey there. You're here because you know how essential an effective marketing strategy is for businesses who want to get ahead. In this video, you'll get to know the basics of developing a solid marketing strategy for your business. Let's start at the beginning. What exactly is a marketing strategy? A marketing strategy is your brand's long-term game plan. It tells you what you're trying to achieve with your marketing activities. Your strategy defines who you are as a brand, who your target customers are, your value to those customers, and your end goals, which you want to achieve through marketing. While your marketing strategy says what you're trying to do, what it doesn't do is tell you how to do it. Instead, The how is your marketing plan. What's the difference? Your marketing strategy is high level. It's a big picture view, which includes details like what you're trying to achieve overall through marketing or your goals, how those achievements will support your larger business objectives. By contrast, your marketing plan includes details like a timeline of your marketing activities, the milestones you need to hit for each one, the KPIs you'll measure along the way. In other words, your marketing strategy is the destination, the address you're trying to reach, and why you're going. Your marketing plan is the turn-by-turn directions that get you there. Got it? Good. Next, let's explore why you'd want to create a marketing strategy in the first place. Why are marketing strategies important? Having a documented marketing strategy increases your odds of success. In fact, according to CoSchedule, marketers are 414% more likely to report success with a marketing strategy. That's because it helps you coordinate your marketing activities with your business objectives, align your teams to support the right goals, optimize your marketing efforts more effectively. Here's an example. Imagine you've been just put in charge of creating a marketing campaign, but you don't know what you're trying to achieve by executing the campaign and why, how and when they'll measure success, or which audience the campaign is targeting. Sure, you could invent these answers out of thin air or make an educated guess, but how likely are you to be successful in that case? That's where a marketing strategy comes in. With a documented strategy, all the answers are at your fingertips. You can create your campaign with confidence. Make sense? Next, we'll explore exactly what a marketing strategy is made of. The components of a solid marketing strategy. At its core, a good marketing strategy includes 6 parts: your marketing objectives, target audience, value proposition, marketing channels, brand messaging, and performance analysis. First is your marketing objective. In other words, what are you trying to accomplish through your marketing? This could be things like increased brand awareness, a higher conversion rate, or more sales. Second comes the target audience. This is the biggest or most influential group of people you're trying to connect with through your marketing. This is usually defined in 2 ways. First, demographics. This would include information like the age range, gender, level of education, career, income, or location of your audience. Second, psychographics. This describes your audience's interests and behaviors and includes things like their values, lifestyles, or areas of interest. So, for example, one fintech company's target audience might be young adults from the United States between the ages of 18 and 30 with a low to moderate income, and they might be interested in things like entertainment and travel. Third is your value proposition. This is the main reason why members of your target audience might want to consume your content or buy your product. So, for example, the value proposition for the aforementioned fintech company might be that their product helps their customers save for retirement more efficiently while giving them more control over their money. Fourth, your marketing channels. In other words, which platforms and tools will you use to achieve your goals? For example, maybe your marketing strategy relies primarily on earning traffic to your website from organic search, in other words, SEO, and through social media. Fifth, your brand messaging. This guides how you'll communicate with your audience. It includes things like your brand's personality, tone of voice, values, style, and point of view. This information helps your team create content that feels both consistent and authentic to your brand. Finally, sixth is performance analysis. This specifies your KPIs, or key performance indicators, and the tools and metrics you'll use to measure them. For example, for social media, you might look at your click-through rate, also known as CTR, your engagement rate, and audience growth. And to do that, you might use Twitter and LinkedIn's native analytics tools. By putting all these components together, you'll have a detailed understanding of what you're trying to achieve and why. That's it for this lesson. In Lesson 2, we'll look at how to set appropriate goals that support your business.
All righty. Thank y'all for that. Anything stand out to anyone on this as far as anything during the little short video? Where's my Zoom now? There we go. We got you back here. So one of the things that stood out for me specifically is um, there's no one single component. I could find 5 different videos that have 5 different components of 5 different things that, or 8 different things in the marketing strategy has to have. But the big thing is there's major touch points of it that that they all kind of have. And again, I always encourage don't get overwhelmed by the complexity that it can be, especially if it's not something you really spent much time doing. I'd rather you have a much more generalized plan than no plan because I'm in analysis. What is it? Paralysis by analysis, because there's so many things. I'd rather just start with something and then building on top of that. So, again, there's some basic components. There's a target audience. What am I bringing to the table? What is my messaging going to be? Those type of things. What am I wanting to achieve? So one of the things that is an important part of a marketing strategy is to align it with your business goals. Now, the business goals are could be several things, but like I mentioned a minute ago, they're kind of the higher level things. So obviously, revenue growth is a viable business growth. Maybe I want to increase my customer acquisition. Maybe I want more engagement from my current customers. Maybe I just want people to know more about my business, my brand, my messaging. So again, the larger business goals are what you define in like a strategic plan or a business plan. And then from that, you extract those parts that can be affected or influenced by marketing. So how do I connect marketing initiatives with like overall business objectives? So in other words, if I'm trying to increase revenue, let's say I want to increase revenue over the next 6 months by 10%, that's depending on where you are. That's not an outrageous goal to set. So if I want to increase revenue by then going into my marketing strategy and I look where can I increase marketing? Is that implementing email? Is that more social? Is that more direct marketing? Is that more networking marketing? 'Cause networking is a huge part. Where is it on those different activities that I can do that can eventually increase revenue and the revenue growth and doing that 10% and breaking those down into statistics and whatnot? We're going to talk about the KPIs, the key performance indicators, some of the things that we use to measure those. And then, so, does anybody have any current marketing activities? Does anyone have anything to add or that they'd like to share about how your current marketing is trying to support business goals? Does anybody want to add anything on that? I know for me personally is one of my big things is I'm looking to increase some revenue and not by crazy amounts, but I know that by actively getting my social content. My big platform is LinkedIn, and then Facebook. For some reason, I forget about Instagram, but nevertheless, to do more content posting because I know with call to actions, with actually specific call to actions that I know will generate interest in what I'm doing, and then funneling them in to have conversations about what it is that we could do together, and then therefore that generating revenue. Um, Contessa, you've got your Instagram, website, and Facebook business page, right? So those are your main three. Um, Website being the core, everything else kind of centering around that, and making sure you're trying to hit as many points of that as you can using those tools that you have. But yeah, that's one of my big ones is for me is how can my marketing help my business objectives? Um, We've got to use Facebook groups to make sure you're aware of potential clients' pain points. Then you can take those issues and make a post. Posting part is what, yes, okay. Now I would like to ask you a little bit more. Facebook groups, are these groups that you created, or these groups that are out there that are relative to and connected to your industry? I'll give you a chance to answer that. Charmaine, yes. So, Charmaine, you wear your company shirt. Yes, and they all ask about you. You pass your business card to them. So that's traditional marketing. That is person to person marketing. That's networking. I know you're always out. You're at events that you're passing those things out. So okay, so you created a Facebook group that's about travel, and so basically travel to New Orleans. So you've got to created your audience. That's another thing I want to do is begin to create some Facebook groups that are relative to some of the things that I'm working on. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing that because it's basically you're creating your own audience, you're creating your own space, and I love how you're, finding out what their pain points are, then market those out to the public because those pain points will be the same for other people as well too. And then kind of, getting them to join the group. So that's a wonderful way. I'll add that to my list of things I need to do, Facebook groups. So thank y'all. Um, okay. The other part is, okay, I'm gonna go through a worksheet that I have. But there we go. Okay, gotcha. Um, the market research aspect of a marketing strategy. So, what are my customers' needs? What are market trends? What are going on? I tell you, ChatGPT is a wonderful tool to do market research and get information that can help us in building the marketing strategy of what we're trying to achieve. Competitor analysis is another very important. What are my competitors doing? Who are my competitors? That's my big question right now. I knew that when I lived in Baton Rouge and I operated the business out of Baton Rouge. But my challenge now is who are my competitors? There are no other marketing agencies in Natchitoches, but that doesn't mean I don't have competitors because somebody's using somebody. So are they Shreveport? Are they Alexandria? Are they elsewhere? Are they Baton Rouge? So that's one of my things that I've got to spend some time doing is where before I knew who my competitors were because I knew the owners of the business. Now I've got to do my research and find out who they are, what are they doing, how are they reaching people, and where are they reaching people is another important part of that. The other aspect of this whole strategic marketing thing is budget and resource allocation. How much money do I have to spend? How much time do I have to invest? And what are the resources I have? Because that was one of the things in the opening conversation about challenges you're having is time is the quantity of content, creating the content, getting the content out there. That's a time, that's a resource. And how do I build that in so I'm actually doing that? And then I forget who it was that said, "What is enough content?" Well, enough content is all that I can do. That's all. That's one of my guiding rules is whatever I can do in the time I've got and the resources I have. That's all I can do. As long as I'm doing that, I feel okay. But I also know I'm not being efficient with it. I know I've got to update my plan, and so this is good for me too because it's helping remind me of what I need to do. Um, in my marketing strategy that sets with my business goals. Um, Another part to think about is just um, being flexible, being adaptable, trying something. If it doesn't get the results you want, trying something different. If it does get the results, multiplying those, whether that's like a content concept or an email concept is another part. But again, also the important parts of bringing in technology, AI, period. AI, it's it. Understanding the analytics, we're going to talk about more of that. But those are kind of some overall major points of a marketing strategy. So I've got this workbook will look familiar because of what we used in our, let's see, one second. I mean, this presentation will be, because this is what we used before. Let me do this. I'm going to share my screen. Share, present. No, now I gotta zoom. We can navigate this pretty well today. All right. So again, this may look familiar from those various workshops, the sessions that we did with together a couple months back. But again, we're revisiting all of that. We're coming back to that, and then we're going to break these out into individual working sessions. So main components of a marketing strategy is your SWOT analysis. That's your strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. I'm going to touch on that here in a minute. Competitor analysis. We're going to spend an entire session talking about target market and personas, but we're going to build those things in there. And I'm going to make sure and resend out the workbook that I here, maybe here. Yes. So there's a little workbook we had, and I'm gonna make sure that we send that out ahead of time, so that as we're working on some of these, if you have the other one, great. If not, you can come in and fill in. But you'll start seeing these areas that or that are supported by the different parts in the slide. So I'm gonna make sure send out the workbook again. And all you need is Acrobat Reader to be able to type directly on it. Then we're going to get into, so after looking at what our internal business looks like, looking at what competitors are doing, and looking at who we're trying to reach, then we're going to set some marketing objectives and goals. Because I feel only through those first 2 or 3 steps can I even figure out what my goals are accurately. We'll talk about how to look at what those are, how they relate to marketing and marketing goals in specifically. And then after we set the goals, how do we measure them? What are the key performance indicators that we're using to see if we're hitting the goals and the objectives that we're trying? We're going to talk about how to budget. What does a budget look like for a marketing strategy? We're going to figure out tools that we're going to use, scheduling and analytics and metric. So today I want to look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats part of the marketing strategy. So basically, it's a way of identifying internal and external factors of our business is a SWOT analysis. The strengths and weaknesses are internal. I like to describe those. Y'all have heard me say that as inside the building. And the opportunities and threats are outside the building. So what are the opportunities I can go get? What are the threats that are external that can affect my business? But what it does is it helps me shape current and future operations of my business, but it definitely helps me develop some specific marketing strategic goals. So for an example, strengths. So internal strengths. I've got great products. I've been around a while. I've got good processes. I've got a good social media following. Got a good email. Now, these are all marketing related. You can do SWOT analysis on financial. You can do SWOT on every part of your business. But what we're talking about is specifically marketing. So some strengths is marketing. I've got a good platform. I got a decent amount of followers. I've got established platforms. I've got a website that's got a good traction. It's got a good amount of pages on it. It's been around a while. It's indexed well in Google. So those are all strengths, internal strengths that I have. I've got a good loyal customer base. I got engaging customers. So whatever those things are that are strengths to your business, you want to make sure and list those. And then next, same opposite end of the same stick is the weaknesses. What are our challenges? I don't have enough time. I'm not putting out enough information. I don't feel like I'm putting out enough information. One of the things that a couple people mentioned is consistency. I know I'm not consistent in it. It's kind of like I get it here and I don't do it there. A weakness may be as far as visually goes. My visuals are all over the place. They're not consistent. They don't tell kind of one theme. Maybe I don't know what my theme is. Maybe I don't know what my messages are. Those type of things. So again, what are the internal weaknesses? I don't have anybody to help me do this. It's just me. Those type of things. So again, now I've looked at the strengths and weaknesses of my business, and now I'm going to go outside. So what are some opportunities I have? Well, one opportunity I have is, for me, is I know I can make a Facebook group. That is an opportunity that I'm not using. I'm not doing it, and I haven't done it. I'm going to do it, but I know, love or hate, that I can create an audience of individuals around some of the stuff that I do, that we can have discussions about it. They can share information. But what I've created is this great pool of individuals that I can go to and collect data, get information, market myself, and things of nature because I've created the group. Another possible opportunity for you is work with other influencers in the industry, partner with others, get out to more networking events. I mean, there's so many opportunities that are there that can help grow the business, depending on what type of business you're in. Contracting, again, partnerships are another big thing. Those type of things. So, what are some of the opportunities that you may have outside of your business that you would like to take advantage of? And then next, threats. What are the external threats? Tough competition. Mine right now, I don't know who my competitive competition is. That's a big threat. Supply chain. We see, if you're dependent on products, that can be tough job market, tough economic market, tough market period. There's, if you're a nonprofit or you're in there, there's a lot happening right now with funding and government funding and grant funding and all of that. That's a threat. That's an absolute threat to a lot of businesses and a lot of organizations who don't know where their money's going to come from. So again, what are those things? Now, a lot of times, to some degree, the threats are out of our control, but at least by being aware that that is a threat, that helps us in understanding if something needs to be done. So, I'm on a couple boards, and is a big concern about this federal freeze. And so, what we've been discussing is, okay, boom, what do we do? Where do we go? What is Plan B? What is Plan C? While we sort through this or find out what this actually is going to turn out to be like. But we've seen more, since the pandemic that there's a lot of threats that can happen. Our snowstorm that we had, y'all had, I didn't have it, I was mad. That was a threat to businesses. There were businesses who were shut down. Now, did it put them out of business? No, but it's still a threat. Weather, climate, hurricane, those things can also threaten our businesses because they can threaten our processes. So again, just kind of being aware, okay, if we have this and this happens, what can we do? So those are some examples of a SWOT. So by doing this, and I encourage you to do it with other people too, or partner with, or your business mentors, work with us on those. But what it should do, if you've done it completely, it should allow you the two biggest places, honestly, that you're going to find the goals. I find the goals to come from are my weaknesses and my opportunities. And so, whatever those are, that's where I'm going to begin to develop the goals of what I want to be able to do in my marketing strategy. The strengths, I want to keep doing them, and the threats I want to be aware of and how they may affect my business, what I may need to do in that time, during that time. And in the workbook I've got, it's here. We've got this little section here that we can fill out when I send that out. But again, I know we've all kind of talked about it and worked on it before, but that is something that we want to be able to do. So, through this thing, we're going to be able to implement and come up with the full strategy. But today was just kind of an introduction, kind of a high level overview of what that looks like and what those pieces are. And again, I think some of the important things to take away is understanding why it's important to you, understanding how you tie in marketing strategy to your overall business goals, figuring out what your business goals and how can marketing help with that. And then, understanding the essential elements of the strategy itself so that you can begin identifying those and then working on those. So I'd like to open it up for questions or comments. Let me go back to my chat screen. And so thoughts, questions, personal stories.
Just I'll start and hopefully get the ball rolling. But for a lot of the businesses on this program, that they don't have a huge amount of resources, and as someone who has started a business myself, we've touched upon this a few times in this talk, but the networking piece and the free marketing that you can do yourself is so important. Making sure you're going to chamber meetings, or there's so many kind of social things in this city that are for small business owners, but obviously try and find things that align with your industry. um, and you can create, obviously most people have an Instagram that is for the most part free unless you put money into ads.
Right.
But the most powerful thing I've found is just getting out there and you know getting and going and doing some research, finding the people who can connect you to business, meeting them, promoting yourself. There needs to be a lot of legwork done because business isn't going to come to you.
Right.
It really, and I think there's always an assumption that I've set up my Instagram, I'll post a few things, I have a website, and business is just going to start coming through the door. That's not at all how it works, unfortunately. And I'd spent years just doing my own marketing where I was just going around and meeting people and putting flyers through people's doors and doing all this just networking type stuff, but just getting in front of as many people as possible who can help your business. And that can be somebody who's maybe in a similar business, who's a few years ahead of you. Um, they can give you some tips and ideas, some connections. It's a lot of it is legwork,
It
um,
is. It is.
and that's not to be underestimated.
No, not at all. I to this day, I mean, like you said I got Instagram. So does everybody else have Instagram, and everybody got a website. Everybody's got all that. All of us do. All the competitors do. We're not doing anything unique. The one thing we do unique is how we sell ourselves, and not sell ourselves in a manipulative way, but connecting with humans. I mean, getting out and talking. I meet more people in like grocery stores and just in the non-business environment, volunteer events, community day. We got, a little neighborhood thing going on or something like that. I don't oversell the business, but at the same time, I know how to lead the conversation enough to ask people what they do, what it is, and then they're going to ask what you do because it's kind of a common topic for us to have when we're in groups. It's, well, what do you do? Work is a large part of it. And, that's where the messaging comes in. That's where the elevator speech comes in. That's where the pain points. That's when you ask them questions, and being versed enough to know about what it is that you're bringing, your value proposition, to creatively weave. And that's the key part. Don't oversell it. Don't come at them like a battering ram because that's just icky and kind of creepy and does not feel good. But being able to orchestrate the conversation so that you're in the lead, so that you're leading this. So at some point you can at least drop something that lets people know what it is you do. Um, Eavesdrop. I was in a coffee shop a couple of weeks ago, sitting there doing my computer. I listened to these two ladies. One lady was telling another lady about shit. It was time management and multitasking. She was like, well, we really can't multitask. And they were just having this conversation about multitasking. So I just politely interrupted. I said, I'm absolutely eavesdropping on you. And you're right about what you said about multitasking. To a point. Now she really wasn't right all the way, but I'm beginning to navigate this conversation because I want them to know that a training that I do helps people understand time management. Now, I didn't come out and say I'm a time management coach. I didn't do any of that, right? Because I don't like doing that. That's not how I sell myself. I just said, hey, I've done a lot of research, and it's interesting you say that with the time management thing, is that there's actually data that shows that people that feel that they're multitasking, not only are they not multitasking, not only are they not as efficient as if they were doing one thing at a time, and at the same time, the stress that it puts on the body and the mind, the cortisol that happens when we're multitasking is much higher. And so that's a pretty, educated statement. And then one lady's like, well, how do you know this? I said, well, I live it, first of all. And this is where my hook came in. And I said, it's also something I do training on. And then she followed up another question. She was pretty quick. I knew she would be. She goes, well, what's the answer? I said, practice. And she laughed. She goes, I knew you were going to tell me that. And I said, well, good. And she goes, where do you operate? Couple seconds. I didn't pass out business cards. She didn't ask for one. But I also know that and this is how you craft I really ought to do workshops on networking because I made a point because I know the coffee shop owner by her name. I'm there almost every Friday. And so I made sure as I'm leaving, talk to her for a minute. They heard me. So if they needed to know who I am, if they want to know who I am, they would ask her, right? Or something of that nature. But in those couple minutes that I was able to explain in a non-selling way that what I do is I can train, and I'm a trainer, and I'm local. Boom. That's all I really wanted. Did that bring any business? No, I ain't heard from the lady, but it doesn't matter. But by doing that over and over and understanding how to approach individuals and how to navigate conversations like that, You leave them something. You leave them. You're planting a bunch of seeds around. And what do we know about seeds? It takes time to germinate, it takes time for them to grow, and it takes time for them to produce. So I don't know if I'll see that lady again. I have a feeling she was probably involved with the university, just by assumptions that I make and the community I live in. I may see her at another event. It may be a month from now. It may be 2 months from now. But we will have that commonality of this experience that I can draw on to begin further developing that relationship. I agree, iPhone 5, person to person is much easier. And I feel like I'm doing something. I'm there in front of you. I'm looking at you. This Instagram, well, anyway. Travel business, eavesdrop. Yep. Oh, yes. Airport. Yes. Nice. Nice. Okay. You're meeting where they are. Hi, Danielle. iPhone 5 is Danielle. Um, so, yes. So, any other questions or thoughts or feedback?
You should definitely do a networking session as one of the
Really need
marketing
to do one for the
clinics.
network. I'm have to. I've been wanting to do a workshop on that. I'm gonna have to build that out.
It's the
Fun.
most.
I
I think
enjoy
it's
it.
something that's overlooked, and it's actually the most important marketing skill. And it is a skill. I mean, people will say, "Oh, I'm not a good networker," and so that's the same as any skill. Some people, are more innately good at something than
Yeah.
others. But marketing is a skill that can be learned. And I
Yes.
know plenty of people who, said that they weren't a very good networker and worked on it and taught themselves habits and conversational skills
Yeah. Yes.
that really improved their ability to network effectively. There's just certain things like, and you can talk about it in the future session that you do, but just following up on someone's card, like getting their email address and
Yes.
actually
Yes.
really pursuing them in a non-aggressive way, but
Yeah.
actually following up with them, meeting with them either during a call or having a
Yeah.
coffee or grabbing lunch. It's just a thing that some folks struggle with, and it's really important because you never know some of the most random connections I've made where I followed up and just had a 30-minute call with them. Some of those have led to some really important things for Flyte, and you just
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have that call, and then a few months later they pick up and they're like, "Hey, I have a funder you might want to look at,"
Yeah.
and they become one of our largest grant funders. So
Yeah.
you just never know. And my advice is always, if you have the opportunity, go to a network, go to every networking event you can. I know it's difficult with the job and kids.
Right.
Believe me, I understand that. Can't do everything, but do what you can because there's so many things that come out of those that you would never expect. And then sometimes it also helps you generate new ideas, and it also just keeps you motivated
Yeah.
as a business owner,
You
I
can, I
find.
mean, also use it as like a study because I often say networking is an art. It's an absolute art to understand how it's a process. Um, Go and watch. See what other people do. See which ones look cringy to you. See which ones look natural to you. See which ones you kind of like connect with and have a conversation. And the other thing I always keep in mind, and I mean not always because I hate this. Um, Everybody's there for the same reason. Everybody's just as awkward as you. Everybody's just as uncomfortable as you. Everybody is just as unsure as you. We're all just that in one big pile. There's no master of any, in there. So just knowing that is like, okay, that person over there, all I gotta do is ask them questions, specific questions, and they're gonna start talking. We're gonna talk a minute, things of that nature, and then I'm gonna know, do I want to continue this or not or whatever. But again, it's that everybody in there, and I like how the 20s, she said double Dutch. Yeah, I have no problem talking to nobody. But I'm not that person. I'm not that person that's going to push my business on somebody if they're not interested. So my key is to drop things in the conversation that may lead them to ask me a question, and then gently drop a few things in. But I don't regurgitate. I don't vomit on them about what I do. I don't pull out capability statements all of a sudden, or hey, give me your email. None of that. And that's not what I do. Maybe if I did a little more, I might have more money. But hey, I'm comfortable with my skin right now. So, well, excellent. I'm glad this was beneficial. Next one, like I mentioned, is going to be our target audience. So we're going to spend. Let me just make sure I got that right. Understanding target audience, customer personas, reaching customers' needs and preferences. And so I believe that's 2 weeks. We will be doing that one, correct, Bigby?
And yeah, understanding customer personas is the one.
Yeah.
Okay, then make sure I date the invite so that contains that. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate all the engagement today. Really love a session where everyone contributes. I'll hopefully see some of you on the 14th for the library session. If not, I'll be on every one of these marketing clinics. So that's the 19th is the next one. So keep an eye out for that email with the information on the library session. You'd be amazed at what the public libraries have as
Y'all really
resources.
want,
It's
no, you
incredible.
really, really want. Libraries they got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of
Incredible
things, and
stuff.
it's free. All you need is a
Indeed.
library card.
Yeah,
I've got
it's
two
fantastic.
libraries. Yes, it is.
All
So
right.
thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.